Welcome once again to JPO Live Broadcast. My name is Jerome, and I'm your host tonight. Thank you for staying with us for the past couple of days. I hope this program helped to kill some of the time, and most importantly, that you guys get to learn from all the speakers. And uh, and I appreciate that the JPO provided this program, the platform for all the experienced musicians to share their thoughts, and hope you guys can take advantage from this program, especially for the young teenagers. This is a very, very good chance for everyone to learn during this lockdown. Thank you, JPO, once again. And also, please help us to do the polling. The polling will pop up anytime soon, so do it. And also, if you have any questions to ask, please type it in the Q&A box. So yeah. So how's everyone? Can everyone raise your hand? I think there's a button that you can click on to raise your hand, so I can know you're here. Nobody? We can't see you. Don't worry. I can only see myself on my screen, which is very uncomfortable. Okay. Okay. Tonight we have a very smart and handsome special guest from Kuala Lumpur. He plays the trumpet. Please welcome Mr. Yau Yann Zhe. Hi, Mr. Yau.
Hi, thanks for the introduction.
Hey.
So yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
How's it going? Yeah. Do you have anything to share with us? I mean, the screen and.
Well, not yet. How about I just talk a bit about being a freelance before I do the sharing? Is that all right?
Yeah. I'll do it for you. Okay, Mr. Yau is a trumpeter. He completed a Bachelor of Music with honor program from the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. Then he returned to Malaysia as a freelance musician, a trumpet tutor in an international school, and also a wind band conductor. He also founded a KL Brass project. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Yau. Can you tell us more about the project
Sure.
band that you're recently working with? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Well, pretty simply, the KL Brass project was founded by Lance and I. And the idea was we wanted to create some awareness about brass playing, especially since in Malaysia, we don't usually get many brass ensembles going about. So we had a discussion one night and we were just talking and we said, why don't we put something up together? And that was how it formed. I basically find that, to be a freelance musician, it means that you have to create things on your own. It doesn't mean that you just sit around all day long, or you teach all day long, or you perform all day long. It means that you go out and you do as much as you can, and you try to spread yourself thin, basically, while maintaining a good quality. You have to be passionate about what you do, and you kind of have to have in mind what is it that you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to give education to support local arts, or are you just trying to create performances to promote yourself? Or, is it more of an ego thing where you become a conductor and then you create orchestra so that your name can be on the headline, As performance, of course, a lot of times we think about this sort of things, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's how I find being a freelance musician is. Sorry, cut you off there.
What kind of music do you play? I mean, with your band, with the KL Brass?
Let me just show you what we did in KL Brass. So in KL Brass, we basically have decided, it depends who is about in Malaysia. And sorry, I can't seem to find it on the screen right now. And if whereabouts, who would come in and who would play along. So with the KL Brass project, it's about, oh shoot. I see what has happened. I've actually switched it off. That's why. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So, okay, hang on 2 seconds. So with Cal Brass, what we do is we have a group that gets together, we perform, and like I said, it depends who is in Malaysia at that point of time. We want to try to get more Malaysians involved. Basically, we want to have it as more of a local group rather than an outsourced group. But we're open to the idea of just having whoever's around, even if they're foreigners, to come in and do a bit of playing. So this was something we recorded. So that's just one example of what we play. And that was actually recorded when Lance came back from Finland around December. And we were thinking ahead, like, what could we do that would be special for everyone? And we thought, Chinese New Year as well as Valentine's Day. But in actual fact, we actually already had our first concert as a quartet back in, I want to say April, if I can recall correctly. Yeah. And that was our first concert. And what we did was we played one original piece that was written for quartet, brass quartet, and the rest was kind of arranged by Lance and his girlfriend, Tae Yong Wei. And it was good music, it was challenging. We played about 50 or 1 hour worth of music as a brass quartet. That's very hard work. There's no time to put it off your face. You just keep playing and keep going. Yeah, so that's something we do.
Awesome. So I hope one day you can come to KK to do the performance. So also, guys, please go into the KL Brass Project, click a like, and help Yann Zhe to promote his page, this project as well. So so Mr. Yann Zhe, so what made you choose this lifestyle?
Well, basically, I have always took an interest in playing the trumpet. I mean, it was the most fun thing to do in my life. And it was such an easy thing to do, at the end of school, come back home, pick up the trumpet, sit down for an hour, blow away. And I was so infatuated with pressing the 3 valves down that I just didn't want to let go of it. Like, that was the main reason why I started. And then came that curiosity to saying, hey, I can make a middle G. And if I play with more air, it sounds like this. If I play with less air, it sounds like this. And then it just snowballed from there, getting to know more about the instrument, about wanting to study further on. A lot of it, I think, also comes down to what you want to do in life. Like, if you want to be an accountant, if you want to work in the bank, or if you want to start an architecture firm, usually people have a dream or some sort of direction. And for me, it was like, I wanted to do something that has something to do with music, has something to do with this trumpet. So, like I said, it's about finding out how to make this work as a living. You can't sit down and wait for the phone to ring, because that's really not going to happen. Nobody's going to suddenly call you and say, hey, we're going to offer you $1 million to come and play a concert. You have to do all sorts of things, basically.
So how long have you been playing trumpet? I mean, how long have you, how long have you been started teaching in the society?
Professionally, I've been teaching for comes July, it will be about 4 years. But back in high school, I was already teaching in secondary. So like I would teach my juniors and things like that, like the typical school band system. But like I said, professionally, I would say 4 years ago. It's when I fully getting into it. And I think it's really important as well, because I'm big on education. I think it's one of the best gifts you can give a kid, to learn a brass instrument. It's so rare, first of all. And second, it's so fun, You can annoy so many people so easily in a single second by just playing so loudly. Or you can wow people by making an amazing tone and get people to sit down and listen. So I think it's a great thing for kids to learn, and it teaches them to have resilience, because it's not an easy instrument to learn, is it? It's quite slow on the pickup. You on piano, on violin, you get away with learning a piece in a week or so. On the trumpet, within a week, you're probably still looking at the middle G. You're still developing a good buzz. You're still developing a good sound, and I think it's special in that sense, that you have to be methodical. Yeah.
So as a freelance musician, can you tell us how's your schedule like in like in a daily basis?
Well, it depends on school days. When the international schools are starting, I'm usually teaching all 7 days, like I'm busy going about. But it also depends whether there's any concerts to do at night, whether I have any rehearsals with the group I have. Like I said, there's the KL Brass Project, and there's also the trumpet trio GSG. We haven't been quite as active as we used to be because one of our members, Eric Yap, has went on to do his masters in Taiwan, which is very good on him. But the last time he came back, we said, let's do a rehearsal, and then let's go in and we're going to play for competition. And I think that's, that's really the amazing part about doing this sort of things with your friends, where yes, you're teaching in the day, you're teaching until afternoon, you might be tired, but then you go off at night and you go and do some performing, and you go and learn what it is that makes you tick as a musician. What is it that keep you going? Like, can you play this phrase amazingly well? Can you make this slur amazingly beautiful? Yeah.
So do you perform in any other countries?
Well, I mean, when I was in Scotland and Singapore, I did some performance there. In Malaysia, yeah, I've been down to Sabah and Sarawak a couple of times. I know it's not considered another country, but it's not exactly an everyday thing where I get to wake up and say, I'm just going to take the bus to Sabah or Sarawak. It doesn't happen that way. But it's nice, when we get to do something like that. And in gigs like that, in going off to Sabah and Sarawak, I like to do education workshops as well. Like when I was asked to help out with the Sarawak National Orchestra, I was given opportunity to give some master classes. That was good for me because I had to communicate with new people, with different groups, different dynamics, and it helps me be better as a teacher.
So can you tell us more about the arts and what makes it important to the society?
Well, if you go listen to film music these days, you hear amazing trumpet parts. The Avengers, dun dun, be bum, 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 or John Williams, ba da da ba, ba da da. It starts off with all these iconic trumpet sounds, and brass playing, in particular, has been around for centuries. Back into the 1400s, where they have the natural trumpets, and they would play it in court. It's a form of entertainment. It's a form of uplifting people, and especially in this point of time with the MCO and the COVID virus, I think it's really important to not get bogged down into it. Listen to some music, look at some artwork. It makes you think. It helps you release some stress. And to me, that's the important part of how it plays into society. And the other side of it is the social aspect. If you join an orchestra, you join a wind band or a brass band, you're effectively communicating with people. You're not in this virtual world anymore. These days we text all the time, or we watch, we consume media so quickly. But when you're playing music with someone, you're actively listening to what they do and you're communicating. And some people can be difficult to work with, but it also teaches you how to comprehend people and to work with them.
Okay, I have a question from the attendee. So in the musical world, there's an ongoing gag that always labels a trumpeter as obnoxious and egoistic. As a trumpeter, do you agree with this? And what do you think about this?
Uh, well, that's a very interesting question. All musicians that I know have ego. Like, the only question is whether they show it or not, and whether they shove it down your throat or not. I think when the trumpet is in my hands, when I'm performing, I think this is it. This is my time to shine. This is my job. Nobody else is going to do it better than me because I'm the only one. That's the ego side of me talking. The negative side is some people go, I'm the best. I'm the strongest. I can play the highest, the loudest, and they just go full on out, and you just go, oh my god, that sounds god awful. You have all of these different sorts, and again, it goes back to your education. It goes back to whether you know how to compromise, whether you know how to listen, whether you're accepting of this sort of things, you know. I was put in some situations where the second and thirds weren't being very cooperative because, you know, his ego, like some guy comes in and is like stealing their spot and just like, you know, what gives you the right to sit in that chair? I can do it better than you. You know, I kind of learned how to chat with them and how to explain to them, you know, it's not about me. It's about working as a section. It's about working as a group. You may not like how I'm doing it, but unfortunately, I'm sitting here in the chair right now, the first chair. If you sat up here in the first chair, even if I didn't like what you were doing, I would support you because that's my job. So there is some form of maturity to that.
Okay. Can you give any tips for the beginners, or for the beginners who try to learn the trumpet or any brass instrument?
The tip I would give is don't give up. It's very, very difficult in the start, and it can be very, very, very frustrating. You know, there are plenty of times where it's easy to give up. But remember, the more you do it, the better you're going to get. The more you develop your sound, the easier it's going to get. So for a lot of beginners, the starting point is to do a buzz, something like that. And some beginners, they can't do that. So in my opinion, you should also ask them to do a raspberry. Stick your tongue out and do that. And feel that tingling sensation here. You want to mimic that sensation without actually sticking your tongue out. So you engage the muscles to do the playing. And then from that, you put it into the trumpet, you start making sound. Now, in the beginning, let's be honest, the sound is not going to be great. In fact, 80% of the time, I would say it's quite hurtful to the ears because it's a rough sound. So that's where you have to work with the kid, or the kid has to work on his own. You know, they have to develop it, they have to listen to the sound they're making, and they keep trying and make it better and better. What I tell my kids is just focus on the embouchure for now. Try playing 4 beats, try making the best sound you can. Okay, after that, try doing something else. Try moving around the trumpet. It's not going to sound great at first, but just keep trying, go through the motion, and bit by bit, you build up that building block till you get good at it. And then you move on to harder exercise.
How about the breathing exercise? I think this is very vital to the wind instruments. Can you demonstrate or?
Right.
Yeah.
This is a very, very interesting question. Because so part of me feel like breathing is important, but everybody's breathing right now, right? Nobody told you how to breathe. So why is it when we're playing a brass instrument, do we feel like we suddenly need to do something different or use a different methodology? The goal should be that you breathe in naturally and breathe in lots of air. Having said that, I understand some people require breathing exercise to develop themselves. And so what I would suggest is just putting your hands in front of you and going, that creates an air tunnel. And when you breathe like that, you can feel the expansion here. And this is a bit controversial, but I don't think you should breathe into your stomach. You know, a lot of band directors would tell you breathe into your stomach, and the Chinese word is gok. I'm not sure what the English word is. Harden your stomach. And I think what that creates is this strain. Like I'm doing it right now, and my voice is already strained. And you don't want that for your playing. You want it to be relaxed. You want to take in as much air as possible, expand everything comfortably, and work on the exhale. That's all it is. And if you need to increase the length of your playing, you can always think about 3 things. Can you play it softer? Can you play it with more efficiency? Can you make a good sound based on the amount of air that's going through the instrument? In all honesty, the more I learn about the trumpet, the more I feel that it's not about the amount of air you put into it. It's about just breathing and blowing and letting the air work.
Okay, here's the next one. Like a tons of question too. So, is a good mouthpiece going to make you play better?
Oh, there's never the perfect mouthpiece. There is no such thing as the perfect mouthpiece, and everybody is out looking for it. Everybody is spending more than hundreds of ringgits buying it. And in my opinion, what you really should do is develop that embouchure strength. Once that is developed, then you can start thinking about sizes. The mouthpiece size should feel comfortable to you, and it should give you a good sound, a good articulation. You know, if you pick a good mouthpiece size and it's too big and it gives you a great sound, but you don't have any range, that's pointless. If you pick something that gives you a ton of range, but you sound like a metal scratching everything, nobody wants to listen to that. Why would you do that? So you have to find this balance. You have to find something that works for you. And in my opinion, this is how I do it. I use a mouthpiece for an entire year before I decide whether to change it or not. And it also depends whether I'm in the market, whether I happen to see another mouthpiece. I don't sit down in front of the computer going, if I buy this mouthpiece, I can play really high now. And in practice, I'm afraid.
Okay, how to practice musical instruments smartly?
I think this depends on your goal, what you want to do as a musician. You know, where is it that you want to go in your life? If you're wanting to, let's say if I was preparing for college, right? I would be thinking 20 minutes of technique, 20 minutes on orchestral excerpt, 20 minutes on solo rap. That's 1 hour. And then the other hour is working on things that I cannot do. So transposition, lip slurs, fast trios, you know, things like that. Whatever that is I can't do. But when I was in college, you know, the goal is different. The goal isn't to get into college now. The goal is to get good. So that 1 hour, not going to cut it anymore, turns to 4 hours. I would not recommend practicing more than 4 hours because I think by then you're too tired and you're really just going through the motion. Remember, whatever you do, it's about having fun. And if you're not having fun, if you're just being frustrated in the practice room, no point doing that, in all honesty, no point. So in college, I would say 1 hour on fundamentals, 1 hour on orchestral excerpts, 1 hour on your solo rap, and then 1 hour of having fun. Whatever it is that you like playing, go out and do it. And then once you're done with it, put it in the case, go out and do something else. Don't stick around, you know. There's more to life than practicing, in my opinion.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
here's the next one. I hear Miss K is best trumpet in Malaysia. Is it true? And can I take a lesson from her? This is from someone else.
Well, I think Miss K is a very, very good trumpet player in Malaysia. And I think if you like what she does, by all means, please go and have a lesson with her. You know, it's really, really important that you don't just take lessons from one person. Go out and see different teachers. They'll give you different ideas. They'll help you explore different things about your playing. In my opinion, Miss K is very good at teaching fundamentals. She has done a wonderful job in Desa Park City, the International School of Desa Park City. I've heard her students. She has done well. And I have sat beside her for a couple of concerts, so I would say that she's quite a good trumpet player.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
Hi Yann Zhe, long time no see. Just want to ask how to play nice vibrato in trumpet. How to practice?
Ooh, that's a hard one. That's a very difficult one. Vibrato is an ornament, right? It's an ornament to your musical scale, to your sound. If you find it's appropriate, you can add it in. If you find it's not appropriate, do not add it in. In my opinion, how you practice it is by bending notes. Basically, you start with bending notes a bit, and then you bend them faster and faster and faster. But you need to know the difference. There's two differences. Is it a natural vibrato that you're doing, or is it something you're doing on purpose? If it's something you're doing on purpose, can you control it? If it's natural, are you doing it because you don't have the technicality to sustain a straight sound? You know, you have to ask yourself those questions. So I would say, put the metronome on, slowly bend it, bend the sound more and more and more and more. And then when you play music, try playing it straight and then try playing it with vibrato. Oftentimes, listening to music helps a lot with that. It helps you decide which sound makes you, which kind of vibrato do you want, you know? Do you want a very strong Mexican vibrato Rafael Mendez, or do you want a very nice Berlin feel shimmering vibrato? Depends.
Cool. So what kind of music do you prefer to play? Do you play any gigs or just only play for concerts?
For gigs, I've been asked to do some jazz stuff before, musical theater. I done some orchestral gigs as well. My preference is playing classical, romantic music. Romantic period, not like the romance, not that kind of stuff. Romantic music, that's my preference. I'm also a big fan of Baroque music and 20th century music. Modern stuff, crazy stuff. I really enjoy those sort of things. And there are music that I'm not comfortable with, like jazz. That's something when I'm playing, I don't feel 100% comfortable with. But it's something that I still do on my own free time. Like I said, tackle things that you're not good at, so that you're not afraid to play things that scare you. In fact, you get excited about playing things that scare you because you get a chance to try your new skill. You get a chance to test yourself.
Okay, so here's the next one. Hi, sir. May I ask, how do you use your tongue like that? And is it possible for me to practice tonguing away from my instrument?
That's a bit of a confusing question. When you say tongue like that, I'm not sure
Probably
what you're referring to.
articulation, yeah.
Right, articulation. Yes, it is possible to practice articulation. I went all the way to the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, and my teacher said to me, "You know nothing about articulation." So I spent an entire year learning how to do it properly, and it took a lot of effort. So my opinion of the matter is, you say the word toe, and you try to say it without moving your lips. Toe, 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 toe. That creates the bounce in the sound. And you remember, if you want speed, you need to have air going through it. Whenever we move our tongue, there's about a 90% chance, I would say, that we forget to blow air through it. And so we try to use our tongue's muscle to do it faster. And that end up having da 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 da, where the sound is really hard and it's getting slower. But if you have air going through it, da 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 da, it's more consistent and the air is helping it push. So I would say practice it full length, legato, da 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 da, and 4/4 length, 3/4 length, I believe that's what's called. Bum, 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 half length, bum, 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 and staccatos, da, 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 da. But always remember, don't move your embouchure when you're articulating, because if you move it, the sound's going to be there. Whereas if you keep it straight, the sound will be clean. And practice your double tongue, practice your triple tongue. Keep working at it. Like I said, keep listening to the sound you're making. Keep refreshing your brain. Is this the sound you really want to be making? Is it clean? Is it clear? And from there, work your way.
Okay, speaking of embouchure, do you have any tips for the beginners how to build a stronger embouchure? This will answer the next question as well.
Well,
yeah.
How you do it is you practice. You practice the right way. You make sure you're using the 4 muscles. You're not actually using the muscles here. That's a very big misconception in Malaysia. It's not the muscles here. There is nothing here. That's just lips. The muscles are here. And if this is solid, the lips are free to vibrate. So in theory, if you're practicing holding the lips back, keeping them in position, they will naturally get stronger and stronger and stronger. Some people say practice long tone for an entire hour. I don't think you should do that, because that's boring and your brain shuts off. Just practice regularly. A bit of long tones, a bit of slur, a bit of music. And when you're doing it, just pay attention. Are you using air, or are you going for like the low and high? If you're doing the second one, you're not training yourself. You're manipulating it, and you're not really building upon your strength. Yeah.
Okay, here's the next one. How do you manage your practices? As you know, the trumpet is really loud. Did you ever get complaints from neighbors, or is there any other way to practice?
Okay, when I was 14, I have this vivid memory of me practicing upstairs, and this bunch of kids run outside my house and yell, "Shut up!" continuously while I was practicing. I only played loud and didn't bother, you know. But that's not a very nice thing to do, so maybe not do that. My opinion is that you can't get away from being loud on the trumpet. But what you can do is make sure you make a good sound, and a sound that keeps getting better and better so that people appreciate what you're practicing. These days when I practice, my neighbors see me and they would say, "Wow, you're sounding really great," or "Wow, you're doing all of this. This is amazing," and that tells me they're appreciating it. But if you're just playing as loud as possible, like what I said in the beginning, without making sure you have a good sound, you're not doing anybody any favors. So while the start is difficult, you're not going to sound great. Your job is to keep getting better and better and better until nobody complains. What you can also do is close the doors, build yourself a little cave. I tried this in a hotel in Kuching. I took a bunch of pillows and built a little fort, cover it up with a blanket, point the bell in and practice. But that's not good for your posture because you're going to be doing this. So try not to do that for long term. That's not very nice. And the other option is you can get a mute. But in my opinion, that's not a very good way to go. A mute is meant for you to change the color of the sound. It's not actually meant for you to be practicing on for long term, especially practice mutes, because the resistance is different. And once you take it out, you find that the trumpet just doesn't work how you remember it to be because you're used to that now. So try to keep it in balance, yeah?
Okay, do you listen to Winston Marsalis and Miles Davis?
Yes, I do. I think they're incredible trumpet players. But I also listen to Hakan Hardenberger, Tinating Helseth, and just whoever is playing in general. Try not to limit yourself to just Wynton Marsalis or just a couple of artists. Go on YouTube, listen to a bunch of other trumpet players and hear what they're doing, because everybody is doing something different and something amazing. Having said that, Wynton Marsalis is still amazing.
Okay, do you have any tips or ways to practice the triple tonguing and double tongue?
Oh, yes, I do. You can either use the armband, which is great, but if you don't have the armband, what you can do is start on the middle G and go da da ka da da ka da da ka da, really, really deliberately, very, very slowly, and try to do it legato. And then once you get used to the air going through it, and your lips not flying about, try going faster. Da da ka da da ka da da ka da. Now, bear in mind, you're staying on only the middle G, so your goal is to get the tongue to be moving, and your goal is to get the air to push through the instrument. Yeah. Your goal isn't to move around yet. Your goal is just to get it working technically. Then after you're good at that, do it on scales. Da 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 da. Sorry, that was single time. Da 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 da. And if you really want to challenge yourself, you can do da da ga da da ga da ka da 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 ga da da ka da da ka da ka da. You alternate between both of them. Yeah. But whatever you do, remember, get the mechanics of it right before you go on to practice the variations and things like that.
Cool. So, how difficult is it for trumpeter to learn other wind instruments like bassoon, clarinet, saxophone? And also, what is the easiest and fastest instrument for the fastest instrument for trumpeter to learn and master? Okay.
I think what they mean is the different keyed instruments.
Okay.
What's the fastest one? Well, in Malaysia, UK, in I want to say Spain, they usually start off on the B flat trumpet and move on to the C trumpet. But from my understanding, in France, they start on the C trumpet, so that's more natural for them. Depends what you're brought up on, basically. But again, that's no excuse to not be able to play a different instrument. You still trumpet, you still go in for it. The only difference is whether it's easy on the intonation and easy on the licks and fingerings, in my opinion, or the sound color, either one. And the next question is, I never tried learning another wind instrument, but I can play all the brass instruments, but I've never tried playing a wind instrument. So I can't answer that question. I don't know how difficult it is. But again, I think if that is your passion, that's something you really want to do, go and do it, try it, see where it takes you.
Okay, this is from Kenneth Cha. He's a wonderful flute player. How does your cat handle your trumpet practice at home?
Hi, Kenneth. Yeah, I know Kenneth. He's a great man. Go and have flute lesson with that guy. He's amazing. Yes, how does the cat handle it? When we brought her back, I already started practicing, so she's used to it. And I didn't play in the middle register. I went really, really high up in the register as well. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of jazz, from a personal view, is jazz an excuse to play wrong note?
Oh God, that's such a trap. If you're good at improvising, yes. You know, we as classical musicians should know the art of improvising. I have to say, we should know it. It's a very, very useful skill. So it's not an excuse to play wrong notes, but it's an excuse to use your brain to figure out how to connect it, how to make it sound correct. You know, jazz players, when they're improvising, you don't see them worrying about what key they're in or whether they're playing the wrong notes or is it a wrong melody. Their brain is constantly focused on linking it all together to create this idea. And I think that's the main difference between classical playing and jazz playing. In classical, we're so used to just going, a crotchet is a crotchet, dotted crotchet is a dotted crotchet. And if it's a G to a C and it goes on to the next chord, it has to be this. In jazz, you know, you have song rhythm, you have beatbox rhythm. And in all fairness, their timing is way better than ours. But you don't see them sitting down and going, or you do, you see them sitting down using metronomes, but you don't see them doing it in such a neurotic way like classical musicians, in my opinion. I might be wrong about that, so I apologize if I offend anybody in saying that, but that's just how I view things.
Yeah, that's okay.
Mm.
What was it like to studying in Scotland? Is the music different from Malaysia?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
What was it like studying in Scotland? Is the music different from Malaysia?
Oh God, it's incredibly different. You know, it is the best years of my life, I would say, in terms of musical growth. I was thrown in the deep end, you know. I was asked to sight read constantly. And when you can't do it, you know, they weren't being mean about it, but the question was, why can't you sight read? You know, and you go, I don't know. So you sit down and you practice it, you get good at reading and you get good at reacting. And it's amazing because, oh my God, you know, everything. 20th century, Baroque music, jazz music, film music, they did everything, you know? And you just get exposed to it all and you get to suck it all up and be in that environment. And everybody had the same goal. You want to get better. Nobody's hanging around, not improving. Nobody's sitting around just waiting for time to pass. Everybody's working really, really hard. And the competition is fierce, you know. You you play something and you know people give you very constructive feedback. People will say, yeah, I really like what's this that you did. This is what I didn't like. I think this is something you could work on, you know. I remember I was playing something and I played it the softest I've ever in my life. And I was really proud of it. And there were many people going, you know, that's great. I love that effect. I love how it drawn us in to listen to you play. But then one of my friends said, but I have a comment. It was so out of tune, you know? And that was a completely new thing to think about.
Okay. And well, hi, Mr. Yan. I just started trumpet in school and I'm still very new. Was wondering, will learning the trumpet make me popular with the girls and get me a girlfriend?
Oh God. You know what? In high school in the band, there was a lot of couples that were together from the band. So it is possible. Um, However, I think, you know, you can have many motivations to learn the trumpet. If that's one of your motivations, go for it. Do your best and, you know, rock it out.
All right. So,
Yeah.
this is a question from Sir Hansen. Are you coming to KK any soon?
Not with the COVID virus. I don't think we're allowed to travel that soon, unfortunately. But I would love to come down to KK one day. We have some plans, and it'll be nice. But again, we have to see how the world works in this point of time. You know. So
Okay, yeah. So how many professional trumpet players you know in Malaysia?
Well, let's not say professional. Let's talk about freelance. And I mean, like, I can't count for you right now, but I think about. I think at least 7. I'm pretty sure I can count even more, but I don't think we should waste time in me counting that, to be honest. But yeah, at least 7.
Okay, we getting more questions now, but let's go to some general questions. Oh, how's the MCO? Um, this is a question from someone. How long do you practice during the MCO in a day?
Oh, not as much as I like to, but around 2 to 3 hours a day. Around 2 to 3 hours a day, and if I could, I would like to bump it up to 4 or 5, if possible. But I think it's really important at this point of time to remember you have to be considerate. You know, just because you like doing it doesn't mean everybody else around you like doing it. You know, just because your neighbors don't complain doesn't mean you abuse it and you do it too long. So I try to keep a rule of no more than 1 hour and a half at a time. You know, 1 hour and a half, stop and do something else. Give everybody a break. You know.
Okay. Yeah. Can you share some learning culture in foreign country?
Uh, learning culture. Learning culture that's actually a very interesting question. Everybody learns differently, and it also depends on your conditioning, how you've been brought up. You know, I think what makes Scotland such an amazing place to learn was that they were a very open society. You know, you can always speak your viewpoint, and you can always have a debate. And if you were saying something silly, something that doesn't make sense, you will be promptly told off that you're not making sense in a nice, polite way. But still, that gets in your head. You know, you're allowed to say whatever you want, but don't say something stupid. You know, or if you do say something stupid, please apologize for it and refrain from saying that ever again. You know, and I think that helps because you're not saying it has to be this way. It must be like this. It must be that way. You know, you end up closing yourself to a lot of experience, but you're opening yourself to a new experience. You're opening yourself to new ideas. You're opening yourself to getting advice, and you're opening yourself to trying out new things. And I think that's the biggest cultural difference. The other side of the coin is that it's the culture of taking care of someone. So, for example, if I get called to do a brass band gig, you know, I'll be told what time was the train. I'll be given travel expenses. I'll be picked up at the place. I'll have a good chat. I'll arrive in the band hall. I would have the music ready for me. I would play it, you know, and then I'll be told what time the train will come and get me. I'll get the lift back, you know, and then per rehearsal I get paid. But everything that you do is already well taken care of, from the payment to the music to your scheduling. And all you need to do is say yes or no. You know, that's the other side of the coin. And when you talk about doing gigs, it's the same thing. You might get a call on the day itself. Can you come in and perform? You know, there is no time to say you need to learn the music, and there's no time to say you can't do it because your reputation hangs on the line. So you go in, you do it the best you can. And I think that speaks volume, you know, compared to here. You only have 3 hours of rehearsal. If you only have 3 hours of rehearsals, you only have 3 hours of rehearsals. However it goes, it's out of your hands. So you do your best and you don't muck about and you're focused in everything that you do.
Okay. Have you trained and performed on any period instruments? For example, Baroque, classical, romantic era,
Uh,
original design. Yeah.
well, well, you know, Let me see. Let me just share with you this. This was a recital I did when I first got back, way back then. I play the natural trumpet, but this program is very special to me because one, it was the first recital I did when I got back. The other thing was I played piccolo trumpet for this, B flat trumpet for that. That's a piece that my friend wrote for me, very modern piece. I played E flat trumpet for that. I played C trumpet for that, and I played B flat trumpet for that. I played 4 different trumpets when I did this recital, and that's just how it is. I had the skills, I had the equipment, and I did it. The Baroque trumpet is really, really fun, but you do need to spend a lot of time practicing. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Next, what can I practice when I had no instruments on my side?
Free buzzing. That's just focusing on tone. What I like to do is I would get my phone up and I would go into this app, and track tuner, and I would go into the drone mode and I would go, yeah, I would do that as a little practice. Aside from that, you can also do, but I would suggest just doing about 15, 10, actually 5 minutes. 5 minutes of that, more than enough. Don't do any more, because when you do free buzzing, you're stressing the lips out a lot. So don't go and sit down and do that for an hour. It doesn't help your playing.
Okay. Do you arrange any trumpet ensembles pieces?
Not professionally, but I have arranged music for my kids to play in the international school. So I have trumpet ensembles, and I arrange In a Dream and other field music and a field baccarat for them to play as a chance for them to get used to playing as a group. You see, in international schools, they don't normally have a band program, so it's quite different from how local schools are brought up. So I wanted to give them this experience of having individual parts rather than the same parts. I've also done arrangement for primary orchestra. That was another fun project, and trust me, the kids did not appreciate the fact that they had to play a lot of solo line. But it was good for them,
Okay. Is trumpet always playing the lead role?
Not necessary. Trumpet is, you have moments in music, not just the trumpet, in any music that you do. You have moments where you are the leader, where you have to shine. It's like having a conversation with someone. There's a time for you to speak and a time for you to show off. And then there's a time for you to be supportive. There's a time for you to be part of the harmonic. So you need to differentiate in your head what your role is. Are you a sound effect? Are you a harmony? Or are you a melodic line? Sorry, I just realized the time. We don't have much time left, but could I just very quickly share 2 groups? I would really like to talk about them. And these 2 groups are really important because they encompass what a freelance musician is. The first group is the Bach Festival. And why I picked this particular poster is because this was my first piccolo gig here in Malaysia. And it was run by David Chin. And he did a phenomenal job. He organized all the musicians, got us all for rehearsals, and paid us well. And they were going to go to the German festival, the German Bach Festival. And as a freelance musician, this is something that you have to do. You don't just rely on getting gigs. You have to create your own stuff. So I feel like this is something I really need to mention. People like David Chin, who are really, really smart. The next group of people I'd like to speak about is the wicked music people. They are a group of people that does period performance, and that is unheard of in Malaysia, in my absolute honest opinion. Unheard of until recently. And they did it, and it's affordable, people can go watch. It's a great way to educate people. And again, they organize concerts on their own, that's an amazing thing. And I think having a freelance lifestyle means this. You don't just work all the time. You're also creating opportunities. You're also collaborating. You're also finding ways to create music. Yeah. Right. That's me done sharing. So if there's any more questions, I can answer them now.
Okay. Thank you once again, Mr. Yao, and we really appreciate that you come up today and share all the thoughts, all the experiences to our fellow members. And guys, if Mr. Yao didn't answer your question, please stay back. Mr. Yao will answer all the questions after the meetings. And also, if you miss all the broadcasts from the past couple of days, please go to the Facebook page, the JPO Facebook page, and check out all the recorded broadcasts. All right. And yeah, we have Mr. Yao with us to do the closing prayer. So if you want to stay back, feel free to stay back. And that's all for tonight. And thank you, Mr. Yao, once again.
All right. Thank you guys for having me.
Let us pray. God, you alone are worthy of honor, glory, and praise. With you, we can overcome every storm, including the global impact COVID-19 is having on the world, on our world. Right now, we're asking you to heal those who are sick and protect those who are not. We're asking you to give our leaders extra wisdom as they navigate this pandemic and economic uncertainty. We're asking you to strengthen our global church, reveal to us how we can partner together to reach the needs of those around us. And we're asking you to calm our fears, fill us with your hope, joy, and peace as we continue to trust in you. We're asking you to use this pandemic to pave the way for spiritual renewal. We want your glory, power, and healing to be on display. Come, Lord Jesus, come. In Jesus' name, amen.